Israel has approved the building of 1,500 new settlement homes in East Jerusalem, a project that was triggered by the UN's decision to grant Palestinians non-member observer status. Palestinian officials have condemned Israel's actions, promising to raise the issue at a Security Council meeting. For more analysis, we're joined live by author and historian Gerald Horne. Mr. Horne, the Israeli move has caused vast condemnation, with a number of European countries summoning the ambassadors. The way Israel is behaving, isn't it afraid of international isolation now that it's officially going ahead with these settlements?
Israel is making a very dangerous wager that its chief ally in Washington can protect it from the reach of international law. But I think that's a misjudgment on Israel's part. As your remarks suggested, the enhanced status of the Palestinian Authority raises the possibility that the Israeli leadership can be dragged before the International Criminal Court in The Hague for various transgressions. Not only that, but the neighborhood of Israel is changing with the rise of the Salafists and the rise of the Islamicists. So I think Israel is playing a very dangerous game in the short term and in the long term.
The Palestinians have always been saying that the settlement construction is the main obstacle for peace between them and the Israelis. How much does Netanyahu really care about settling this issue?
Well, I think that the problem is that Mr. Netanyahu does not want a settlement of this question. He feels that his regime can continue in a land grab, a grab of Palestinian land, and settling Palestinian land with Jewish settlers ad infinitum into the future. I think that's a very dangerous wager on his part. And unfortunately, the international community has not been able to bring him to account as of yet.
With Israel and the Palestinians pulling the rope in opposite directions, is there still room for a political solution? The question that's on everybody's minds, really.
I think there is a possibility for a political solution, but it will require more pressure on the Israeli authorities. I was heartened by the fact that a number of Western European governments basically called the Israeli ambassadors onto the carpet after the announcement of these building of new settlements in eastern Jerusalem. However, that is not enough. I think ultimately the international community is going to have to slap very severe sanctions on the Israeli apartheid regime, like sanctions were slapped on the South African apartheid regime. Similarly, I think that the multilateral institutions, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, not to mention the private banking sector, are going to have to refuse financial aid and loans to the Israeli regime, just like such financial aid and loans was refused to the apartheid regime some years ago.
But I mean, is it possible to do that? I mean, it almost seems like people are a little bit afraid to kind of do anything when it comes to Israel. It's always a hush-hush thing. Let's not upset them. Is that even a possibility?
It's a possibility in the long term. It's well known that Israel's main protector in Washington is declining in international significance. With the rise of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa, the balance of forces and the correlation of forces globally is changing to Israel's detriment. The Israeli authorities would be wise to change their ill-advised policy before it's too late.
The settlements plan has caused, like we said, a diplomatic rift between Israel and also Washington. Why would Israel put its alliance with the U.S. at stake?
I think Mr. Netanyahu, the prime minister, feels that the Israeli lobby is sufficiently potent that the Obama administration will not crack down on Israel's transgressions. Mr. Netanyahu also feels that he has sufficient strength in the U.S. Congress that he can actually make Mr. Obama bend the knee rather than vice versa. It is unclear to me if that wager will prove to be sufficient and accurate.
Mr. Gerald Horne, author and historian, thank you for your time here on RT.
Thank you.